Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom Airsoft. It's good to see you again. If it's your first time here, then as always, it is good to see you and I hope you're going to stick around. Okay, well, welcome to our weekend video. As many of you already know, and I say every time, we upload videos normally on a Wednesday and also on a Saturday. So 2 videos a week. Normally midweek we look to do a gameplay video. But obviously my injuries at the moment, I've not been able to get to games quite as regular, so I still try and get the gameplay in there where I can. But at the moment we're doing a studio video, which we do every weekend, where we look at absolutely everything Airsoft related. Gear reviews, replica reviews, introductions, tech, anything you can think of really in our great hobby and sport that is Airsoft. So with that out of the way, what are we going to have a look at today? Well, before we get into what we're looking at today, I must apologise if you can hear any background noise. There is some building work going on next door to where I am at the moment. So if you hear the odd bit of hammering or anything like that, that's what that is. So I'm sorry about that from the get-go. Hopefully it won't come through to you. Okay, so what are we going to look at today? Well, today we're going to have a look at another Airsoft pistol, another pistol replica, but this one is a little bit different. You probably won't see one of these in the field quite as often. You might do on your home field, I don't know. I know on my home site at Tazball Airsoft there are a number of guys that run similar kinds of pistol. Not something I run myself in game though. What we're going to have a look at is we're going to have a look at the ASG Dan Wesson 8-inch Airsoft revolver. So, first things first, let's get this out of the way. You do not get this case included if you were to purchase the Dan Wesson 8-inch Airsoft revolver. You get it in a cardboard box with basically a polystyrene insert. Just a standard box, it's well packaged. I haven't got the box anymore, unfortunately, because I purchased this case as well. You can buy this case separately. It's not mega expensive. Again, it's licensed with Dan Wesson firearms on there, which is cool. And it does come pre-cut out to handle the Dan Wesson range of revolvers, which is awesome. Now, if you were looking to get one of these, you do get it, as I say, in a plain cardboard box with an instruction manual, which as per all ASG instruction manuals, it's very good. It's glossy, it's got all the information you need about loading, spare part catalogue numbers and all the rest of it, so it's great. In the box you will also get a speed loader, such as this, which is a revolver speed loader, so it looks like the real steel kind of thing, because this revolver uses these mock shells just for that added bit of realism. How cool is that? So you do get mock shells, and you get 6 of those, which there is a slot for in this case as well. So you get 6 of these mock shells, the speed loader, which holds 6, and the revolver itself. As well as the revolver, you also get a 20mm piece of rail that you can attach to the top should you not want to use the open sights and you want to mount an optic to this revolver and make it look even more epic. So I think what we'll do is, as we always do with these breakdowns and quick introductions to some of the pistols, is we'll have a quick look round it and see what you think, see if it's your kind of thing. So let's take that out. It's a hefty beast, there's no mistake. And we'll have a quick look round the revolver and then we shall have a chat about it. guys, so there you go. We've had a quick look around it. I'm sure you will agree it is one hefty pistol. The Mark 23, as many of you know, is one of the bigger airsoft pistols that you'll see maybe quite regularly at site. A lot of people like them, including myself, and that is a big pistol, but not as big as this pistol. This pistol is very, very heavy. I believe it's over 1 kilo, so quite a heavy beast. The construction wise, the pistol is well constructed as far as I can tell. It's all aluminium. Everything on the pistol is aluminium. It's all metal apart from your pistol grip, which is polymer, and that's the only polymer thing on it, is your pistol grip. So as you can imagine, there's quite a bit of weight on it. It's quite cumbersome. In the hand, it's certainly big. This is a fully licensed pistol as well. Fully licensed by, it's based on the real steel Dan Wesson revolvers, which make specialist revolvers in the United States. As well, I believe that Dan Wesson are part of CZ of the USA, which will possibly explain the license from ASG, because I believe they have the license for CZ products. So it is fully licensed, which is great. The revolver itself is based on a real steel. Dread to think what that's like in real life with real shells in it. I imagine it'd kick quite a bit. So I mean, if you were looking at one of these revolvers, what you're looking at really is a full metal, fully licensed replica of a real steel revolver, and it does make quite the impression. You get real steel markings on the pistol grip here for the Dan Wesson insignia. Obviously it's got Dan Wesson markings on the barrel, or on the bottom of the barrel. It's also got your usual ASG markings and your caliber 6mm made in Taiwan. So I've got that on there, which takes away from the realism a bit. And you also get a unique serial number that is mounted down here. The one jewel marker, that is removable. That can be removed. When you purchase one of these pistols, if you do get one, you can remove this rear sight block, and it does come with a section of 20mm rail. So you can add a rail on here and put an optic on top of the revolver if you prefer. And that's included in the box, which is great. The actual weight of it, I think, is primarily down to the construction. It is well made, like I say, and it is primarily metal, so that does add to the weight. The shells themselves, in many cases you would think that these shells may be plastic, but they're not. The shells, they do have a rubber end on them, a kind of rubberized plastic to hold the BB, but the actual shell itself is metal. It's metal. It feels like the real thing when it's slotted away in the case there, especially when you put them in the revolver. So with everything you get there, you're probably thinking that this would be a really, really expensive replica, in that it's fully licensed, full metal, and it's got the realism of the shells. And that's not totally the case. Here in the UK, you can get one of these if you want the 8-inch one. Obviously they do a 6-inch and a 4-inch as well, so you don't have to go with one that has this monstrous barrel on it. They're all pretty much the same. You have options for nickel plated ones in the smaller barrel sizes. However, if you decide you want the 8-inch one and you want to go with the full size monster, you can get one of these for between £100 British and £120 British. If you find that you're in the United States, when I had a quick look through there, you can get one of these for about $100, just under $100. So very affordable as gas operated pistols go. And this is a gas operated pistol. For all you CO2 lovers, it's a CO2 operated revolver. So the pistol grip slides back to reveal where you would put your CO2 12-gram canister. Just standard canisters, slot in there. You've got a key on the bottom, which is also exposed when the grip is removed, so you don't need an Allen key or anything. It's got a little handle on there. And then you wind up your CO2, put your pistol grip back, and that is you good to go. That is all there is to it for loading gas into this pistol. Now the gas part of it, easy enough, not difficult to load at all. The bit that would become awkward in game, I would imagine, is these. You have the shells to add to your realism. 6 of that you get in the pack. You can buy additional shells for this revolver. You can buy additional speed loaders like this as well. I tend not to use the speed loader. That is one of the downsides to this pistol, this speed loader. When the cylinder is popped open, you can't quite get the rounds to line up with the cylinder and allow the speed loader to release. So I tend not to bother with that type of speed loader. But as you can see, one of the drawbacks to this pistol is that you've got to flip out your cylinder. You want more of these shells if you're going to use it in game, I would say, because you only have 6 shots. It's a 6-shot revolver. You place a BB in the end of your shell. You don't need to do anything more with the shell. And then once the BBs are in all the shells, obviously, you have to load up the shells either with the speed loader that I showed you, or you can index the cylinder yourself and load the shells one at a time, which is really cool. It feels really realistic. And then shut up your cylinder and you are good to go. Now this action is this revolver is a double action revolver, so each time you pull the trigger the cylinder will rotate and the hammer will fall, or you can do it in single action. So you cock the hammer back, it rotates the cylinder, and when you pull the trigger it fires. And that's all there is to it, guys. And the problem you're going to have, like I say, from playing a game is when you finish, you don't want to lose these shells, obviously. They're not hugely expensive, but they're also not mega cheap. So you're going to have to empty all your shells out that are spent, and then you're going to have to reload more shells. And then when you've put more shells in there, then you're going to have to lock it up, and away you go again. And you only get 6 shots. Now you can see the disadvantage there over an automatic, guys. Just as in real steel, an automatic, you slap a new magazine in and away you go. You know what I mean? And you get a lot more rounds as well. So from an in-game point of view, I'll be honest with you guys, I bought this revolver just because I liked it and I wanted it in my collection. I have never used this in-game. You can use it in-game. If you were going to use it in game, you can get a holster for it. You can also get shoulder holsters as well as waist-based holsters. They are available. Again, not hugely expensive, about 20 British pounds. And they're custom made for this particular revolver, the 8-inch. You can even get one for the 8-inch size one. And also, you can get what they call moon clips. So I was mentioning earlier that you can buy additional speed loaders like this one, which I found very finicky for loading the cylinder. It doesn't always work, so it's easier doing it by hand. But you can get moon clips, and basically the shells would be, they're permanently attached to the moon clip, if you like, which is a small clip at the back. And then to reload, you just drop out all 6 shells, take a new moon clip and push the whole thing in. So you're loading all 6 shells in one movement without any issues. And they are an option, again, available. So you can get those as an aftermarket option. It is produced by ASG, it's still a licensed product. It's not separate or anything. And again, they're not hugely expensive. It's going to cost you for a few of these shells. You know, it's going to add up if you want a lot of shells. But that is an option to make it more playable in game. Use moon clips. Obviously you can get a holster, which is going to make it easier. So the options are there. It is a skirmishable pistol if you wanted to look, you know, extremely bad on the airsoft field. I mean, it's an imposing replica. It's definitely going to turn some heads, you know. And believe it or not, at my home site at Tazball Airsoft, there are a number of guys there that do run revolvers as their secondary in airsoft games, and they do use it in game. A couple of guys have got the Chiappa Rhinos, which again is a revolver. An airsoft revolver, works on a similar system. And then a few other guys again have these Dan Wessons. Some people have other revolvers, but I've never used mine in game, so I can't comment on it in game. That would bring me on to the next part. If you're going to play with a revolver in game, dependent on your area and your regional rules on FPS limits or power limits, will depend on which version of this and which version shells you buy. They do a high power version of this ASG Dan Wesson replica that fires anything up to 500 feet per second. Now here in the UK, no site's going to let you use that as a sidearm unless you treat it like a sniper and you want to do your 30 meter minimum engagement and single shot only, there aren't really any sights that would allow, as far as I'm aware, a 500 feet per second pistol or sidearm. So when you do purchase one of these, this particular one is the low power version. They do a low power version, they do a high power version. I will put a link to where you can get one of these in the description, and the link that I include will be for the low power version, and they normally chrono anything up to a max of about 350 feet per second, which should be safe for sight limits on a 0.2 gram BB. These are obviously, and that should be safe for sight limits at most sites for a replica sidearm, and that's the low power version. So I'll put a link to that in the description so that if you're here in the UK, you can get the low power version and be able to use it at sight. If you're in a different area and you've got a higher feet per second limit or power limit, then obviously the high power version is normally listed as well alongside the low power version. And the only difference between the two really, guys, is these shells. When you're buying extra shells for this replica, ensure that you buy the power down shells if you're here in the UK, so that you hit that 350 FPS limit. And in other areas, you can just buy any shells. The high power shells go up to 500 feet per second on a 0.2 gram BB. So here in the UK, we use the low power shells if we're going to skirmish it, and they're easy to get hold of as well. You get the low power or high power shells. If you want to go with the high power shells, and you know they are available, but obviously you won't be able to use that on any site here in the UK. So what's some of the plus points of this pistol from what I can tell? I mean, from my limited experience, as I say, I bought this as part of my collection. It's not something I personally would use in game. However, if you were to use this in game, if somebody turned up with one of these, it'd certainly turn my head. It definitely looks the part. It's an imposing pistol. It feels great in your hand because of the weight. It feels so real, you know. It's just so heavy. It is kind of front heavy a little bit, but you know, it just feels realistic to manipulate. And then obviously, you know, you've got your cylinder release here, so you have to release the cylinder like the real thing. You're putting your shells in like the real thing. You've got an extractor, which is this here, just like the real thing. It's just so realistic, you know, and you've got all those actions that you have to do just like you would with the real revolver. So from a realism point of view, it certainly wins. Might be worth mentioning when I said about opening your cylinder there, that also acts as your safety. So you can slide that back and that is your pistol on safe. So it does have a functional safety, but primarily that is used for opening your cylinder. And that's the great thing, you know, it's just got all that realism there. It's so imposing, it feels so solid in your hand. Now, if you were to use it in game, it's doable. But that brings me on to the down points of it. Some of the downers of it it is really heavy. I mean, it's really heavy. It weighs way more than a Mark 23. In some cases, it weighs as much as an Airsoft SMG, depending on which one you're looking at. So it is properly heavy. Also, it's big. It's really big. It's a massive pistol, so it's cumbersome to use. And then, as you've all probably gathered with any revolver in Airsoft, the biggest disadvantage, while also being one of the benefits of realism, is these shells. You've got to put a BB in each shell, so you need a lot of those shells. They take up space, they take ages to reload. The moon clips make it a lot quicker, but it's still not as quick as an automatic, guys. You know, you're not just swapping a magazine out, letting the slide go, and off you go again. It's still going to take longer than that. So you have got the handling characteristics of a revolver make it a disadvantage. But it's got that long barrel. Apparently the accuracy on these is good. I know from shooting on my range here, the accuracy is reasonable. Doesn't really seem any better than any of my other pistols. Certainly not as good as the Mark 23. But you know, yeah, it's good. It's as good as any of my others for accuracy. So you could certainly skirmish with it if you were wanting to be that little bit different. And that's what it is with these revolvers. They certainly are a little bit different. What I would say as a note on that, guys, is if you're looking for your first Airsoft pistol, now, I mean, obviously, you don't have to do what I say, you know, but if you are looking for an Airsoft pistol, me personally, I wouldn't recommend this as your first pistol. As I say, I bought this as part of my collection, never used it in game. For your first airsoft pistol, I'd still say that you'd be better off with some automatic based replica rather than the revolver based replicas, just purely from a fun point of view. You know, you're going from a 20 round plus magazine to 6 shots and then you have to reload. Now, if you think you're going to really enjoy that, then that's fair enough. But from my point of view, I think if you're really getting into the game and, you know, you've only got the 6 shots and then you have to mess about reloading, I think it might damage your opinion of airsoft pistol replicas. However, you know, by all means, if this is the thing for you, they are very affordable. A lot of automatics are more expensive than this and don't look as realistic, don't offer all the realism features, you know, and they certainly don't look as different. So there is that going for it. So that's been my note of care there. If it is your first pistol, be aware that I wouldn't recommend it as a first pistol. It's so heavy. That is something you definitely want to be aware of. It's going to weigh a lot on your hip or in any holster you carry it in, and it's going to weigh a lot in your hand. It's cumbersome to handle. But, you know, they do smaller versions. So if you're fancying a revolver, you go for the 6 or the 4-inch version of the Dan Wesson. It's going to look just the same as this, but you can get them in black. You can get them in nickel plated as well. Just got the shorter barrel. So still going to weigh a bit. It's still going to have the realism, just not going to have that monolithic barrel on there. So there we go. That's an unusual pistol replica that I have seen people skirmish with. I haven't done it myself, but they certainly look cool. They look real. There's a lot going for it, and as I say, for £100 British or $100, you're getting a whole lot of pistol replica for not a lot of money. If you wanted one of these cases for it to, you know, complete the picture as it were with a Dan Wesson licensed case, I believe you can get one of these for around about £20 British. So not cheap, but not mega expensive either to have the trademarks on there. So there we go. That was my brief introduction to the ASG Dan Wesson 8-inch revolver, airsoft revolver. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked having a look round it. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. As always in the comments, I will always respond to a comment. I might not get back to you straight away, but I will always respond. Let me know in the comments as well if you use a revolver of any kind in your airsoft skirmishes or games. I'd love to know. And how do you find it? Or if you don't use one currently, would you consider using a revolver in an airsoft skirmish or game? And if you have any other questions about airsoft or for me personally, then drop me a comment below, and as I say, I'll always respond. If you are enjoying my series of videos, then as always, do please subscribe to the channel, and then you won't miss any of my uploads. Helps us out here. If you want more content from myself, you can find Rock Bottom Airsoft on Facebook and Instagram. There's photos and discussions and things on there. Photos of this replica on there as well. Okay, so again, I really hope you liked the video, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and as always, I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.